Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're going to be talking about a 1951 film,
The
which is the original version of a film that's like I'd say like probably top 5 for both me and you, like all time, maybe?
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely in the top 10, I'd
Yeah.
say. I
Yeah, so it
favorite horror
is
film of all time for me.
yeah,
Anyway.
it's The Thing from Another World, which is, famously got the remake
It's
from John Carpenter in
yeah,
1982.
one of one of those remakes that some people might not know is a
Yeah.
remake, but it is. A lot of people compare The Fly to The Thing in terms of being an 80s remake of a 50s movie and the originals being similar. What are the originals? Monster movies.
Yeah.
This is the the Thing is more like paranoia oriented. It's
Yeah.
more driven around the characters not being able to trust each other and who's doing what at what time. There's like dynamics that form. People like start like almost groups in between. In this movie, it's just this humanoid
Yeah.
being
It's
that's
basically
basically an
like a
alien,
Frankenstein
and
thing, or well, it actually
yeah,
it feels a lot like Alien, the Ridley Scott film. You know what I mean? Like it
a
feels more
lot
about that,
of
like that, because
this.
like they just
Yeah,
find the alien after it crashes, they bring it home, and it starts like reproducing, and it starts killing them
well,
off. Like it feels like Alien.
the Well, the way the government also wants them to bring the alien back and is
Yeah, which
leaving,
is
and like
very
there's
yeah
a character that
Alien
fills like
time.
a very Ash role as a
Yeah.
doctor, and it's
Yeah, he's the
there was
whole
a
thing
lot
like,
of
no, you
Alien that
see,
I saw. So
experimentation is worth dying. Like we're gonna lay our lives for
yeah,
knowledge, which I thought was like it was
I
interesting. I Okay, let's get down to it. Did you like it? Did you like this film?
yeah, I mean, this reminded me as well, like because we also talked about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
rewatch the '50s version, but I remember it pretty damn well. I remembered it in film class, and it was a memorable watch. And this is similar, where it's like 80-minute movie, lots of scenes that are like on a huge stage where a lot of characters can stay in one scene and have sharp back and forth dialogue, and they always have that way of talking like 50s where they're talking about like inflection like this, a bit of a radio voice, and like back and forth that are more poetic. It's just, the Thomas Flight has really good videos about, how dialogues changed over the years, but there's a charm to movies like this that are just 80 minutes and good cast, good dialogue, good banter between people, and solid pacing as well. Like this movie does not waste your time in the
Yeah.
slightest. It keeps going pretty solid, and it's entertaining, but this is a brilliant example of a film that is remade, and the remake is better. It's
Well,
far
it's the
better.
whole
They
thing. I was mentioning to you that I watched the the thing today
the
with the commentary
82,
track.
yeah.
And one of the things that Kurt Russell mentions is that the difference between the two films, because the original was based on the same story, the Who Goes There short story,
I
but
really
the
need to read that novella. Like
yeah.
it's been from what I understand, it's more similar to the '50s version. They've all taken creative
No,
liberties with the story,
no,
I'm
no,
sure,
no.
but
It's more similar
it
to
didn't.
the John Carpenter version. The 50s version is
Well, I know they use the
basically
names and the like.
I don't know about that. I just know about like the what Kurt Russell said in the commentary was that John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, they mentioned
Isis.
the that the original is not very similar to the story, with the whole like idea of an alien
Hmm.
taking over the body and everything, where it's just like a plant, like a Frankenstein
Well,
kind of thing. And it's interesting that John Carpenter said, like, I want to go back and actually do like the idea of that story and adapt it. And there is something that John Carpenter said about
and
like the difference, that like the 51 version reflects its time the same way the 82 version also reflects its time, which is also interesting. Like they compared it
yes.
to like the AIDS epidemic in the 82 version, and the 50s one is just like, well, what I thought was fascinating was that for a 50s movie, it was surprisingly anti-government. Like usually American films at that time was like very
Yeah,
propagandish,
actually.
like Red Scare type of thing, but it wasn't.
Well, like I said, it reminded me a lot of Alien, where they're like trying to protect the alien rather than the crew. They're
Yeah.
basically like the crew is just cannon fodder. All that matters is
And we
getting that
have this
creature
one
back, and
guy
it's
who's just
presented the
like, I
same
don't
way.
care. I'm gonna kill this thing before it kills all of us. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's I what you were saying about the time periods these take place are is fascinating, because like for a 50s movie, you have a pretty solid theme that drives the story, and it's emblematic of the time and what people were scared of. I mean, that's the thing that I think is fascinating about, like I said, The Fly and
Hmm.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Thing. When you jump to the remake, they're about different. Even though it's the same story, it is about different ideas, and different
Yeah,
ideas are
absolutely.
important. So I just what I think about the remake of The Thing is that the paranoia aspect works better for horror, because I mean,
Oh yeah.
these
It's
movies,
one thing where
they don't have
it's
that
just
much
like, oh, a monster who does this mildly creepy thing, which is not even shown. The whole like
the
using them as body
noise.
as
Yeah.
blood bags, like they just say it like they're
Well,
hanging upside
back in
down.
the
Well, yeah, but
yeah,
if you're
back in
doing
the
a
50s,
horror,
you had
you'd think
the
they have at least one shot. To be fair, there is one really cool shot where they light the thing on
that
fire,
was
and
I'd
yeah,
seen that, and it would like, and the ending is pretty entertaining.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is a cool showdown
They
with
burn him down with the like the electricity and everything. It's cool. But you
and you
know,
can
like
tell it was done for real. Like they light
yeah,
a man on fire and they
yeah,
have a thick suit to protect him. It's pretty
yeah,
intense, though.
and but you know, like the coolest thing they have in the original is not it's just something that you just mention and just it happens off screen, which is the blood bag thing of just like having the guys hanging upside down so it can reproduce via the blood. And you know, eating the blood and surviving like that whole thing is kind of fun. But it's a lot less scary than just the idea that anyone, including the people you know best in the world, could just be like this thing that's trying to
Well,
take over and kill you, which is like it's why the 82 film is one of my favorites. It's just like a really well made horror film because it keeps you on a it like people talk to this day don't know like if the ending like if they were
oof,
both in fact that if
yeah.
neither of them were if one of them were so it's really interesting.
Well, I did read and spoil the ending of Who Goes There, the novella,
Uh-huh.
and that ending does not happen apparently. It apparently they defeat the thing, and it's
Hmm.
kind of unambiguous.
Well,
But that ending, it's one of my favorite endings of all
well,
time.
it's
Like seriously, the
interesting.
thing is one of my favorite, and
Yeah,
the end note is just amazing.
the commentary track they talk about it. It was actually Kurt Russell who wrote that ending. Um, like
Really?
yes, they kept trying to figure out the ending, and John Carpenter wanted them to burn each other and kill each other. But he was like, I can't have like the idea of my film them killing each other, and so the studio wanted to cut just before Childs shows up, and then have like a chopper showing up to save him or something, and it felt like. Kurt Russell said like that was too generic for a film like this. Like it just felt cheap.
Hmm.
And then Kurt Russell came up with the idea, the dialogue, and the idea of just like let's just sit here and wait a while, see what happens. Like that was Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
He wrote that scene, so I find that fascinating. See, that was one of the few
Wow.
things that was actually interesting in the commentary track. There's like 5 minutes worth of stuff
Yeah.
in the commentary
I
track.
the screen. It's so funny. Bill Lancaster was the writer of the remake of The Thing, and the main thing that he was known for other than that was the Bad News Bears, and I find it so funny, the script for The Thing, because there's a lot of movies that are like that, where the director, like just the filmmaker involved, they like nothing they did was like half as amazing as this. Like, where did this come from? Like, how did you make something that is just it's
It's
like what I was
lightning
saying
in a
about The
bottle, I
Incredibles,
think,
that
right? Where it's just
well,
like
it's
everything
like,
just comes together perfectly.
but I was it's similar to what I was said about The Incredibles, where I just the people that when you have a perfect film, I don't think they set out to make one. It just
Hmm.
the right dominoes fell in place and things worked out. But yeah, that ending's amazing. But yeah, it's like I mean, one thing that was actually interesting, I'm curious what you thought, was the romantic element. There is one
I actually
like
really like
woman in the
the
cast,
woman, the
and
girl. Like I was like, because like
I
she has like an actual personality, which was like unlike films
she
of the time. Of like she actually took charge and made fun of
well
the guy, and she didn't seem like a punching bag who was bossed around. And she was like confident of her sexuality, which is again like another thing that women have been known for being criticized for, just being confident of her sexuality. So it was
well,
like I actually really liked her.
it's funny. Have you seen the movie His Girl Friday?
No, I haven't.
That might be one to recommend for the podcast at some point. It's really good. Howard Hawks directed that film, and he was the producer of The Thing from Another World. And the dynamic between those two, it reminded me so much of His Girl Friday. And I'm guessing that Hawks had other films that were similar in terms of how romance was handled. But in both this film and His Girl Friday, the female character has her own agency and isn't just the damsel strung along. And
Mm.
in fact, it reminded me a little of Raiders of the Lost Ark with Marion and Indiana Jones
Marion,
and how they
yeah.
played that up. Yeah, I liked how it played out. It's just that something that I appreciate quite a bit about The Thing is how they utilize an all male cast. There's no
Hmm.
romantic tension. It's just all it's almost like a Boy Scout troop, or like a military. There's because
Yeah.
there's the Predators, another similar film with a similarly mainly male cast, but there still is a bit of a damsel character, and she to the Thing from Another World's credit, she isn't really treated as a damsel in distress for the
Hmm.
most part. But if I were to pin one thing that I think drags The Thing from Another World down, it would be that it's largely the cast versus the monster,
Yeah.
and they don't use the monster that much. The monster's mainly like locked in the closet. It's like
Yeah.
it's
I
a
mean, it's
lot of
just
scenes of the
the whole
character
thing. The film must have
talking,
been
and
extremely cheap to make, I assume,
yeah, all
because
things
it's just
considered, the
like,
sets and
yeah,
yeah.
I assume it had like a
I
very small
think
budget, and that's why they kept the thing confined to the greenhouse for
well,
most of it and everything. Like a lot of the action happens off screen, which is a little infuriating. But like, there's the one big set piece with
yeah.
the fire. Um, it's just like
Well,
it's
I
not a
do have a
really
theory as
inventive film, but
well.
I just think it's like it's pretty well done for what it is. I just think like The Thing from 1982 is just like one of the best films ever made. So it's just like it's unfair to compare. But if that film were just like to come out on its own, I'd just be like, yeah, that's pretty solid. I don't know.
Well, another thing that I wonder if it was a budget eater was the plane, because it I think there are some shots that use models, but I like there did look to be some shots of like actual Antarctic stations. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's one shot that the footage is like you can tell there's grain on it that's noticeable, and it looks like it's different footage that was shot somewhere else. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering about that, because once you're inside the actual station, that just all be shot on sets.
Yeah.
And the original, I keep saying the original, like that was like the '80s version, isn't the fucking remake, but that was also shot on sets as well, largely. You can just and
Yeah.
they infamously chilled the place down a ton. So, but there's a sense of authenticity to the original, the real original, because you have the door swaying open instead of one of the earlier scenes at Anchorage, and there are scenes where you can see characters' breasts. So yeah, I don't know. It was. I think I've mentioned this before, the last episode, that this was always on the list as something where I was just
I will
if I were
eventually
ever,
get around to it. Yeah.
yeah, I'll watch it to compare it to the original, and that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, the original
Yeah.
is a
It's just one of
solid
those
film,
films that
good
you
with
should
some.
watch, just like you like the 82 thing, so you may as well, but genuinely you're not missing out on too much for not watching. It's the same with the 2011 one, which we also talked about, where it's just like you
Yeah,
don't
which
need to
was not.
watch it. Like, of all these films, if you only watch the 82 one, I'd say you're pretty well served. But if you want to know more about film and, just how these this concept evolved throughout the years. It's very interesting to compare, and it's something that I thought was so interesting as well. How basically the 2011 thing is more of a remake of the 51 thing than the 82 one, because the 82
Yeah, it
one, it
really.
starts at like the second station, but the first station where they find the being, get in block in a
They
block of ice and bring it back to their station, and it thaws and it starts to kill them. Like that's
that's
the plot of the original one, and that's the plot of the 2011 one.
the
So it's interesting to
yeah, the
think that way.
Norwegians, they use thermal charges to
Yeah,
get it out, and they destroy the ship inside of the 50s version. So
yeah.
funnily enough, that's another thing that I love about how the thing is structured is that what happens at the station has already happened, and
Yeah.
it's one of the most heroic scenes when they go in there and they find that body, and that's the line, "What is that? Is that a man in there?" It's like
Yeah. Well, it's
then
part
the
of
whole
what's
place
great
is on
because they
fire and
actually
like, Jesus.
they shot the outside of that scene with the same sets that they used for the rest of the film. It was just after they burned it down for the ending. So it's basically like a
Yeah,
self-fulfilling prophecy. It's very fun of like, yeah, they're going through the same thing that they just saw these guys like had just gone through.
history repeats itself,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
I
fascinating. That's another thing that's just great about the thing, but yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
yeah.
It's not like
There's
it's not. I would say it's a good movie. The thing from another world. You know,
yeah,
like I would
I
not say it's
I
bad, and it has a lot of competent filmmaking, and it has a lot of things that I love about 50s filmmaking of just like blocking like so many shots. They're so long and so many characters moving. I'm like, oh,
well,
I miss
I
blocking. Movies don't have
well,
blocking anymore.
there's a shot. Let me send this to you. But I'm looking at this shot, and there's like maybe 12 people on screen at the
There
same
is a
time. It
shot with
reminds me of
36 people in one
Kurosawa.
shot. The John Carpenter mentioned that there's a shot with 36 people in one shot.
Yeah, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And this is the thing, man, is everyone criticizes Stranger Things for having characters just in the same room and it's
Yeah.
just all boring. And I mean, arguably, what I'd say here is I'm like, well, a lot of these characters do blend together,
They
unfortunately.
are very
Yeah,
thin. Yeah. That's another thing that this film faltered a little bit, was just like it has a big cast, but none, like very few of them feel like actual characters. You have the journalist guy, the
that's
main guy, the scientist guy, and the girl,
scientist. Yeah,
and a few of the other supporting characters you remember, but not really. And then the rest is just like cannon
yeah.
fodder, basically.
Yeah, and like less die than instead of the original as well, so they stand out less because of that. Like you don't get as
Yeah.
memorable ending moments. But yeah, that is an element of the 82 thing that I think is incredible is how the cast is like a dozen.
Yeah.
It's 12 people, and all of them are memorable.
Yeah.
Not all of them are great characters or with a complete arc or something like that, but they
You
all
remember all of
stand
them.
out, and yeah, you can remember their names, you remember who they are and what they're like, and they all fill a role in the story that
Hmm.
makes it so that they're memorable or have a memorable moment, and it makes you care. That's just it's what I love about the 82 thing is that no one feels like cannon fodder in the
Yeah.
slightest. You don't want people to die. It's just like yeah, I it's unique in that
That regard,
regard
yeah.
where a lot of horror movies will just have lean into characters being cannon fodder and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, let the slasher kill them, but not
Yeah.
in the
Well, I
thing. It's
recently
very smart,
rewatched
very smart
Alien as
monster.
well, and it's just another film where like the entire cast, even the ones that get killed early on, they just feel like actual characters. Like it's fascinating. Like forgot the character's name, but John Hurt's character, he's obviously the first one to die because he gets, you know, the egg, the vagina monster on his face, and then the egg, the chest burster. But like I remember his character so much. He has like a lot of memorable lines early on in the film, and he just like for the second half of the film, he's just dead. So it's kind of fascinating. Like these films, they're just doing a really good
Well,
job of
not
like
to mention,
characterizing them before killing them.
well, it's an ingenious bait and switch too. It's what makes the chest burster scene so like shocking. Is it's like, hey, he's all right. It's like,
Yeah,
nope.
they're
It
having
just
dinner, and then
for a
boom.
second Yeah, Jesus.
I love that scene. I got
Flat.
Alien Collector's Edition in 4K, and that thing is beautiful. I love it so much.
Yeah, make horror movies where you care about the
Yeah.
cast. That's what I learned from the '82 thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
it's
interesting. Like 70s, 80s horror still kind of seems like the peak of horror. Like I love a lot of horror nowadays, and not to get too into like, oh my god, the back then movies used to be better. And I think you would agree that like 2020s, 2010s, we also had like some amazing horror films. I think you also really like Hereditary, right? Like maybe not the ending. I think you don't like the ending.
yeah.
But
Well, Aster. I mean, there's good horror filmmakers that have
yeah.
come out. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to think about what was the last super iconic. Like, it was probably Hereditary. That
Yeah.
was the last.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
pretty big
people
horror film.
really
Yeah.
said that was scary as hell.
And it
A
was, to
lot
be
of
fair, that
it's
film scared the shit out of me the first time I watched.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm not easy to
It
scare. I have a list on Letterboxd of like genuinely scary films. I think it has 12 films. And I've watched like, oh, this year alone I've watched like 65 films. So that should tell you how many films I watch and how few actually scare me. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
yeah.
I think like 70s 80s horror hit that perfect spot of like campy and practical special effects, and also like characterizing the characters so well that you actually care about them and are scared of them dying. Where after that, a lot of the characters started to feel like cannon fodder. I mean, if you've seen any of the Friday the 13th films, most of them are just like, yeah, there's a cannon fodder, or characters who have no characterization. They're just like boring character stuff between the fun kills. So it's,
Well, and Flanagan is making solid character-oriented horror, but his
yeah.
is more
Well,
thematic. He
that is the
doesn't
whole
make
thing, that horror has evolved over time, right? That there's the quote unquote elevated
yeah.
horror. I don't like that term, but just the whole idea of like horror that's
This
more about like exploring the characters and the themes rather than like actually the scary kills and everything.
I've always said there's like been a bit of a horror renaissance.
Hmm.
Like it's it's changed in regards
Yeah.
to how just making stuff that's more.
Yeah.
I've always said that I feel that Cabin in the Woods was a bit of a stepping stone towards that. Maybe a wake up call for filmmakers of like, yeah, we've had the same cliches. Like someone needs to make the Cabin in the Woods equivalent of that for the fucking MCU because Jesus Christ, like
Yeah. I mean, they're
we
making
need to get out of
Spaceballs
that rut.
too. Um,
That will actually be fascinating to
yeah,
see from the Star Wars perspective. They will have so much material to draw on. It'll be unreal.
it'll
And
be
Mel Brooks
very
is coming
fun.
back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I'm making a video about this. I think the Black Phone films are basically like getting back to 80s horror in a way that feels modern. So it's interesting when you compare that to the horror nowadays that feels so much like it has to be taken super seriously and it can have any comedy to it, and the whole like I don't know, because like one of the things in the 1982 thing as well is that there's some really funny moments, like the fucking
yeah,
throwing the gun when he's shooting at Childs. He just shoots and throws the gun for Brimley. I was just like, that's so fucking stupid. Like there's so many moments that are just like genuinely
the
like
noose is
the news
hilarious
is my
with
favorite
Blair
moment in
as
the
well.
films.
Oh my
I don't
god.
like it out here anymore. I want to come back in. Nobody
They
acknowledges the
literally
news.
don't mention yeah,
It's
I've
so
heard them do
good.
it. Oh my god.
Genuinely
Yeah, the
hilarious.
thing hits all the right beats. I've always
Yeah,
laughed that the film was not a financial success when it first came out, and
yeah,
everyone's always attributed that to E.T., but retrospectively, it's just an incredible film.
yeah.
It's entertaining, it's scary, it gets you to think, it gets you to care about the characters, and it's ironic that we like you rewatch this and I have like both movies in front of me, but the take home from this is that The Thing is an amazing remake.
Yeah,
And it's not like the original is a bad film. It's fine. I gave it a 5 out of 10.
yeah.
And it's just
It's a fine
it's a
film. It
fine,
hits the
solid
beats it has
film
to.
that
It's a 50s horror film with a low budget, so it doesn't do anything too spectacular, too interesting to really get you excited.
Yeah.
It's a film that's, back when they used to do like showings where they show movies the whole day. It's not the movie you're gonna remember the most, but it's fine. And then there's the 82 thing, which is like horror at its best.
Yep. Yeah. And thankfully, it hasn't been drawn out. I need to play the video game that they made because I've heard it's
I
pretty
keep
solid. And they did
hearing
like a
it's really good. I need to
remaster.
play it. I
So,
might stream it soon,
yeah.
actually. I want to get back
Yeah.
into streaming, and I've heard that game is really good. I've seen a few videos, and it's super interesting because the characters can actually like get scared of you, depending on your choices, stop trusting you. Like you can control how many bullets they have, if they have a gun or not. It's super interesting. Like it has a lot of depth, and it's a PS2 game, so I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, I've meant to play that for a while, but this is not. Luckily, they haven't made sequels, or this hasn't been
Yeah, they made the
driven
2011
out.
one, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, in all fairness, it
Yeah.
wasn't like trying to
Yeah.
milk it. It felt actually like they were trying to tell a story, the
And
prequel story, and actually trying to do something interesting. It's just that the
and it
writing
came
was
from a
very
place of love.
yeah, the
You could
writing
tell
was
they
very
really
lackluster, and the whole fucking
did.
studio interference didn't help,
Yep.
which we
It's
talked
just
about
that.
before. There's an episode about that if you click on the top right corner
Yeah, I
of the
was about
video
to.
right
We've
now.
we've talked. We have talked about all of them. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny that it's like I it's funny. I gave it a 5 out of 10, and I'm like, would I recommend it? I'm like, I consider 5 just an average, just plain good film, basically. And so I would recommend it, but way I look at it is I've seen the 2011 thing, I've seen the 82, and I've seen the original, and now I've had the full thing experience.
Yeah.
Just like I've had the full Invasion of the Body, or you had the
I
full
had,
Invasion of the Body
well, actually, there is a
experience. My
sequel
God.
that I didn't watch called Body Snatchers from like '93, I think, which I didn't watch. I
Ah,
have it here, but I haven't watched.
huh. Well, I it's interesting to have seen it,
Mm.
but my take
Yeah,
home is that I'll like the thing is superior,
yeah,
but it's the original Thing from Another World, pretty solid. So
yeah, yeah. I would agree. It's fine. It's an interesting watch, and it's fairly short. Like you said, it's like 80 minutes, so it doesn't. I think 87 minutes, maybe. I don't know. It's short. So if you want to watch it, you're not gonna like waste too much time with it, and it doesn't feel like a movie that wastes time. To be fair, it's just not that interesting, not that unique. It's just a regular monster film, where you compare it to the 82 thing, which is like a masterpiece. So if you are gonna watch one of these three films, I'd recommend watching the 82 one. But it's interesting, and I like this thing we do with the podcast of watching like older things and like try to compare them to newer things and trying to figure out like, where like it all came from. You watch the 1922 Nosferatu, for example, which is like one of the
what's the
biggest.
film history?
Yeah,
People were making the same movie over that. I always love that people say that like it's all the same story. Every story is technically the same
yeah,
story if you break it down. Like people have all these
yeah.
different
The whole Joseph
theories
Campbell
about
thing.
writing, but
Yeah,
yeah, but it's one of those elements where you have film history of just looking back 100 years, and films were made differently, films said different things, they were about different things, and
yeah.
this
I mean, it's the whole
this is
thing.
just
Each
one
film
element
is
where we
always
have
gonna.
different. Well, I was just going to say they were made at different times, and they
Yeah,
all reflect different periods, including the 2011, because it was back when they were making monster movies and tons of remakes. That was back
yeah.
early when the
I mean,
Friday the
yeah.
13th
Friday the
and
13th and Nightmare on Elm Street both had remakes in 2020, in 2010.
yeah.
2011 came out The Thing. So yeah,
And it wasn't a remake. It was
it was
a
a prequel.
prequel, and
Yeah.
and better. I mean, I haven't seen the Friday the
The
13th,
Friday the
or I haven't
13th
seen any
remake
of the
is
Friday the
good.
13th,
It is
but
good. But the Nightmare on Elm Street is garbage.
yeah, you said that it's interesting that Jackie Earle Haley was apparently awful.
It's just like the whole
That's so
thing. You
funny.
have
I
Robert
haven't seen any
Englund
Friday.
as Freddy Krueger, right? Like he's iconic. And you get the guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen, and he's fine, but he's playing a more
But
serious version. Robert
yes,
Englund
the
was
camp
camp
is
personified. You know what I mean?
It might have been the director or actor, I'm not sure,
I
but
think
I've
it's the whole
heard
thing
one way
that
or
that
another
film
just
was trying to
failed.
feel like elevated horror, like, oh, we're taking it seriously now. This is your grandpa's
It's fucking
Nightmare on Elm
Nightmare on Elm
Street.
Street, though.
It's
Yeah,
literally it's stupid, like a movie with dream logic trying to like take itself too seriously. So stupid to me. Anyway, before I go into a rant about Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm obsessed with that franchise. I'm making a video on it, guys. Don't worry about it. But yeah, before I go into that, yeah, I guess we both have fairly positive thoughts about The Thing from Another World, and I assume now it's time for you to recommend something, Evan, for next week.
yes, indeed. I've got a choice for a unique reason. I mentioned The Pit recently as a
Yeah.
huge recommendation for a TV show, and one reason is Sean Hattasey as a character named Dr. Jack Abbott. Fascinated with that character, and he got a Primetime Emmy for best guest star
Mm.
for good reason. And he's going to star in a film next month, which is a sequel. And you have not seen the original film, and it's been a while since I've seen said film, so I want to give it a old rewatch. That film is Ready or Not. You
Oh,
you
okay.
still
I've
have not
wanted to
seen it,
watch it
right?
for so long. Yeah, I haven't. I've heard that film is
Yeah,
really fun.
they are making Ready or Not. Here I come. And fucking David Cronenberg is apparently one of the stars, which is amazing. And like I said, Sean Hattasey.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I've seen Ready or Not once, and I liked it. And it is a unique film. The filmmakers behind Scream. You've seen the newer Screams, right? Like
Yeah,
they
I've
did that,
seen
right?
Scream 5. I haven't seen 6 yet.
Huh.
I did
Well,
not like 5, to be fair, but yeah.
I'm curious what you'll think, and yeah, it's worth a retrospective watch. So yeah, Ready or Not.
That's fun. Okay. I've been wanting to watch that film for so long. It's just another one of those that I keep putting off. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch. And we'll probably cover the sequel um, when that comes out, too.
Yeah,
I mean, I say that
that
it
like I
took us
said that.
ages with 28 years later, but it's fun.
Yeah, and we still have not talked about weapons. That's been one that's kind of on my list, and I've been curious to
Yeah.
talk about, even just for our lukewarm response and sort of the world's lukewarm response. There's a bunch that are just sort of on the list, but just get sidelined.
Yeah. All right. Well then, folks. Thank you very much for watching, listening. Uh, comment, like, and subscribe. I remember this time. I finished the last recording. I didn't tell that, but shit, I forgot to say it. But yeah, comment, like, and subscribe, and follow us if you're
And check out
listening on the podcasts. What were you just gonna say?
well, and check out Skye's new video about
Yeah.
sincerity in the MCU, which check it out.
Yeah, I posted recently a video, though this is gonna be like 2 weeks old. The video's gonna be like 2 weeks
True.
old when this comes out, but it's fine. And check out Evan's channel. His new video's coming out soon, hopefully.
Oh Christ, I need to. I've been taking. It's so funny. I think I mentioned that I took up drawing this
Yeah.
year. Like that has. Whenever I just have spare moments, I find myself drawing. Like I edited so like quickly because I just dedicated so much free time to it. Now I just draw more than edit. But
Hmm.
I will get back to that. I'll finish it. I'm close. I'm at like the last 20 minutes of going through, but there's ADR. There's still a decent bit of work to be done, but I won't be finished by this month. But maybe next month we'll see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have my podcast with the Eevee called Ecom is in the description too. Should be. Probably is. I don't. If I remember, it's gonna be in the description, so you can check that out too. Um, is that everything? I think so. Okay. Well, thank you for watching, folks. We'll catch you next week, and yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.